Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to the Evil Within AKUMU difficulty walkthrough. This is Chapter 10. And, this is probably... So this is a pretty long chapter, and it's also, in my opinion, the second hardest chapter of the game. So this is something I've been talking about throughout the entire walkthrough. Chapter 6 is, in my opinion at least, the hardest. This chapter right here is also very hard. The main part of that is at the end when we fight Laura. So Laura, of course, is the very creepy Spider-Woman that we've encountered in chapters 4 and 5, and then in this chapter we're going to have our final encounter with her. Now, we're also going to have to confront this new type of enemy called a trauma. We don't have to fight it, but it's still kind of hard, and then at the end we're going to fight a boss called Amalgam Alpha. It's kind of just this big mess of a monster. Not too hard, actually. So the hardest part of this chapter is the Laura fight. And I should preface this by saying the only thing that makes the fight hard is that I chose to kill her. So when you do the fight, you have two options. You can either kill her or run away from her. If you run away from her, you will miss a key. So because I'm showing you how to get all of the keys in this walkthrough, that means I have to kill her. For the sake of your own walkthrough, you don't have to get that key, so you can just run away from her, and that will make it significantly easier. However, if you want the full challenge, plus there's an achievement for killing her, and then there's also a ton of green gel for killing her. So, and in my opinion, honestly, killing her, it's not terribly difficult. And so to give you a bit of perspective, what ended up happening was I killed her once, and then I ran into a bear trap and before I got a checkpoint, so I had to do the whole fight over again, and then I killed her again on like my second try. So killing her is not overly difficult, but it still is tough. So tough that it makes this chapter the second hardest in the game. So don't get me wrong, it's going to be hard, but that's not going to come until much later in the level, I think around 36 minutes in. So what we're going to do now, just make some upgrades. Again, this is completely up to you at this point. As long as you have good sprints and matches, you should be fine. And then you might want to save your game, pick up the collectibles, and then there's going to be a short cutscene right here.
Do you have any idea why this world is the way it is?
What? Who are you?
Hate. Hate. Ruvik's hate. The man's consumed by it. He wants out. Wants to get his revenge. He wants back what he feels the world took from him. It's not like he could actually get that. It's not like he could actually get that. This world exists as long as he does.
You heard something just now?
So yeah, Chapter 10 is pretty long, and I'm going to tell you right now, strap yourselves in and get ready to hear some commentary, because I think I'm going to be doing about 40 minutes of straight commentary right now. There are not very many cutscenes in this game. The entire level is mostly all gameplay, and I'd say that so if you had to divide this level into three sections, the trauma section, the Laura section, and the amalgam section, I would say that it goes medium, hard, easy, being that the trauma is probably the medium difficulty thing, Laura is the hard part, and then the amalgam is actually pretty easy. However, I should say that's considering you have a good amount of ammo and bolts. If you are in a tough position in regards to those things, you might have a tougher time. But anyway, crawl down the ladder, and there's a tripwire here that you can disarm, and then make your way through. And go into this doorway here. There's some green gel, and there's some boxes for you to break, and then in those boxes is a key. So you might want to come in here. That's a very easy key to get. And also, I should point out that there is a section, I don't really know what to call it, but it's going to be coming up. It takes place before the trauma encounter, and it's pretty challenging. It's really weird because it doesn't seem like it would be that hard, but it is. It's something that when I played through on normal, I thought, oh, this section's easy, I'll breeze through this on AKUMU, and that was not the case. I actually spent a considerable amount of time on this part right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run into this area, I'm going to disarm this bear trap, and then I'm going to make this enemy alert to my presence. Or you can try to stealth kill him if you want. It's not that hard to stealth kill him. So I think that's actually what I'm going to do. I changed my approach here. However, it really doesn't matter, because either way, once you go into this room here, you're going to get shot at from a sniper, and that's going to trigger the alarm. So as soon as that happens, what you're going to want to do is run back out here, run as far away from the door as you can, and there's going to be 2 haunted that follow you through that door. But you can see there's going to be this giant spinning blade, and sometimes the enemies will duck under the blade, but what you're going to do is shoot them, then immediately crouch back down, and you can see that when you shoot them, they get kind of stunned, so they stand up, and then the trap takes their heads off. And so one thing to be very careful of here is when there's items on the ground, mainly like green gel, if you bend over to pick it up, you actually, it's hard to explain, but if you pick something up, Sebastian will like slightly raise his head, and if that happens, the saw will cut it off. So you got to be really careful there. But this saw, you know, it's actually a blessing in disguise. You're going to see that I used this saw to kill quite a few enemies. In fact, you couldn't see it, but like I said, there was 2 haunted in that room. One of them got killed by the saw, it's just you couldn't see it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to prep a shock bolt, and I'm going to shoot it right there, because there's going to be 2 haunted in this area, a small one and a fat one. And they pretty much will always see you, but I'm going to go ahead and lure them over here anyway. And be careful, because one of them does have a firearm. So you don't want him to get close to you, but you see that's why I prepped the shock bolt. I should have waited a little longer, because there's a 3rd haunted, or make that 2 more haunted that run into the area. So if I had waited longer, I could have shocked all of them, but I got a little aggressive, so I just had to use an extra shotgun shell. That's okay, because as you can see, there's one right there, so I'm okay with spending that 1 shell if there's one to pick up right away. Alright, so there's going to be a bomb on the wall here. Disarm it if you are more skilled than I am, but if you are not, you're just going to want to shoot it. I cannot disarm those things. I'm terrible at it. Alright, and then after you grab those things, you're going to make your way to this back room here, and you'll see your objective highlighted in blue. That is the battery pack, and we're going to use this a bit later on. So as soon as you pick that up, you will get a checkpoint, so that's helpful. And now we have to make our way to where the battery goes, but before you do that, you're going to come up to this upper balcony here, and there's going to be 2 snipers across the way. You're going to want to shoot them after they've shot. So let them both shoot, then jump up, zoom in, pop a headshot, and then do the same thing to the second guy. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to have your rifle pre-aimed and then wait for them to stand up, because more than half the time their bullets are going to kill you before yours kill them. So it just pays to hide behind this sheet metal, let them shoot once, and then finish the job. Now somehow my sniper rifle here did not do it, so I didn't want to waste any more ammo, so I pulled out the pistol, and I knew all I had to do was get 1 shot. Unfortunately, I missed 3 times. Luckily, there's some pistol ammo right there, so you'll notice that a lot. Sometimes you'll see me using weapons, and you'll say, why did you choose to use that weapon there? It's usually because I know the layout of the map, and I know that there's ammo for that particular weapon nearby. So, like right there, that's why I used the pistol instead of the sniper rifle, because I knew there was pistol rounds behind me. And so it ended up working out all right. I still wasted some bullets, sure, but it could have been worse. Alright, now this is a little thing you can do. It doesn't really work well unless you've upgraded your melee a lot, and you probably haven't done that since melee is effectively useless on AKUMU mode. But if you really want to, you can let this guy, he'll keep climbing up the ladder, and every time he gets close, you can just melee him. But if you don't do it soon enough, he'll actually get up here. And if that happens, then you're just going to want to resort to shooting him. To be honest, I probably should have just done that to begin with, but I always at least try to save ammo where I can. So right there I thought, hey, if I melee him, I'll save some ammo, but it ends up just not being worth it. It would take way too long, and there's no guarantee it would even work. Alright, so now we're going to make our way back out into the center room. Again, be careful of the saw, make sure or the blade, make sure you're always ducking. Now you see here a couple haunted are going to sneak into the area, but they're smart. They're going to be crouching, so I'm going to stand up, I'm going to shoot them, and then I'm going to crouch back down, and because they'll get momentarily stunned, their heads will come clean off. That was close. That was I really like that shot right there of him running at me and then just getting decapitated at the last moment. That was a very stressful moment. I feel like I couldn't have planned it any better than that. It was like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. Yeah, so sometimes I'm fortunate enough to capture some really cool gameplay scenes. But anyway, you see that door off in the distance. That is our objective, but we cannot get there yet. There's a bear trap here. So I don't know if you noticed right there, when I started to disarm the trap, Sebastian kind of jumped up for a split second. So if you got to time that, because if you try to disarm that trap right as the saw is going overhead, it's going to cut your head off. It's really weird. It's a weird mechanic. I don't know why that happens, but it just does. So if ever you're going to interact with something on the ground, again, you see right there with the match, how he stood up to drop the match. And if I hadn't timed that correctly, the saw would have cut my head off. So just got to be careful. But anyway, you're going to come to this room here, and there's going to be a few enemies in here. At this point, though, they're just regular haunted. So what you can try to do is, again, save some ammo. So what I'm doing is I'm going to lure them out. I'm going to run as far away as I can, and then I'm going to try to get this blade to do my dirty work for me. Boom. There's one guy down. And again, all of this is in the sake of saving ammo. So if you really want to, you can just use a freeze bolt in there and melee them to death. You can use a shock bolt or explosive bolt. But kind of the main theme of my walkthrough is ammo conservation. So sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes you just have to use a lot of ammo. But this is not one of those times. You can get by in some pretty creative ways here. And that's what you, or at least that's what I recommend you shoot for. Alright, so there's still some enemies in here. You can always hear them growling. So you can see there's a bottle right here. One option is you can try to stun them and get a stealth kill. Other option is try to lure them out. So you see right here, here's another haunted. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to lure him out to the blade room, run away from the door, and there you go. Super simple. And then here comes another guy. Boom. Once again, you see that guy had a gun, so that's why I ran far away from the door, so that I could hide behind this wall. Because if you just stand close to the door, one, you're not going to have enough time to shoot them, but two, if they have a weapon of their own, they're going to be able to kill you before you can kill them. So, alright, so another bomb on the wall. Disarm it if you can, or just shoot it like me. And now there's going to be one guy right here. If you're quick enough, you can drop a match on him. Unfortunately, I don't think I was quick enough. So, that's why I prepped my shotgun just in case. And we're just going to shoot him back and then run up and drop a match. Alright, and now you can kind of breathe easy. That is that's the last enemy in this area, I think. And then we can move on to the trauma fight. But before we get there, there's still some stuff we have to do. But things do become significantly easier now, in my opinion. So the only reason I'm doing that is because I thought I heard an enemy in the area. So I'm just doing that as an insurance policy in case they try to sneak up on me while I'm inserting the battery. But I think you're going to end up seeing that I had nothing to worry about. So there you go. Once you use that battery pack, that door will now open. And there, okay, so there is one more guy. There's another sniper that will spawn. And what you're going to want to do is just kind of rotate your camera until you can see his, until you can see the flicker that he causes. So whenever he's aiming at you, there's like a reflection off his scope, and that's kind of how you spot where the snipers are. You can see here, I don't know what happened. He just lost interest in me or something, but he's basically just standing there. Now he's resuming his job. But there you can see him. And so I'm just gonna wait. Boom. And voila. So anyway, guys, just so you know, I have resumed the Dead Space Let's Play. So I stopped the Let's Play because the Uncharted Lost Legacy came out, so I had to make a walkthrough for that. And then around that same time, I started getting really close to beating the Evil Within. So that at that point, I just kind of wanted to focus all my efforts on this game. But now that I'm done with Evil Within and now that I'm done with Uncharted, I've finally resumed Dead Space Let's Play. So I just posted Chapter 7 yesterday. There's 12 chapters in the game, so I have 5 more to go. And if everything goes well, you know, if I can plan my time management, I'll be releasing 1 video per day. So basically the way it will work is I'll be releasing 2 total videos a day. The Evil Within video will be released at 10 a.m. Arizona time, and then the Dead Space video will be released at 3 p.m. Arizona time. So I don't know what time that is for you, but those are the Arizona times. Now when you're going down that ladder, you actually want to be careful. You don't want to drop down, because if you go down too quickly, that trauma will see you, and you don't want that, because you can see here, he'll actually just disappear on his own. So as long as you don't startle him, you don't have anything to worry about in this area, or at least you don't have any trauma to worry about in this area, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think that's Martha Stewart's quote or something like that. Alright, so in here you're going to shoot this statue, and then you're going to run under and pick up the key, and you're going to want to get out here quickly because it is a trap. There's some green gel right there, but I didn't want to risk it, so I just didn't pick it up. Alright, so now we're ready to assault this room here, and there are quite a few guys in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick the door open, and that kick will actually alert about 2 of the haunted. So when that happens, I'm going to run back into this room. This is kind of my safe room, and I'm just going to lure them out 2 at a time. So you see here they come, freeze them. Oh, I got 3 there, and the reason this is important is you can see one of those guys is a Ruvik doppelganger. So yeah, you want to kill him as fast as possible, and I find the best way to kill him is just with a freeze bolt, and then you can melee him to death. So he's going to be in that first wave of enemies, which is why it helps to just run back to this safe room, so that he won't see you until he bursts through the door, but by the time he bursts through the door, it's too late. You'll have an arrow prepped and ready to go. Alright, and we're just going to kind of rinse and repeat this strategy. We're going to run in, we're going to lure a couple enemies, and then we're going to run out and kill them. Now, something that does make this a little harder is there are wall bombs and traps littered throughout this area, so you got to be really careful. So you see here, I'm going to kind of improvise a bit. So there's a haunted right there on the floor that I did not see, and I kind of panicked, so I ran back to the safe room. And I'm just going to take him out. That guy actually really did scare me. I had no idea he was there when I recorded this. But it's only one guy. That was too close for comfort. I probably shouldn't have been using my pistol. But again, I just wanted to try to save ammo. But yeah, that might not have been the wisest decision. Now, another thing you're going to want to note is I have over 40,000 green gel, and you're going to notice that I tend to save it from this point on. And there's a very good reason for that. That's because in the next chapter, we're going to get the Magnum, and you're going to want to be able to upgrade the Magnum as much as you can, because that's going to make our life way easier later on in the game. So start now. Start saving your green gel if you haven't already, because you're going to want to use that on the Magnum. Alright, so this wall bomb here, the only reason I'm keeping it intact is because there are going to be a few enemies here. So I'm going to throw this bottle, and you can see there's a big haunted lying on the ground over there. So I'm trying to just wake him up, and then I'm going to try to use this bomb to cause him a lot of damage. And then drop a match, and whoopee, the match didn't work. So yeah, that's fantastic. Now we have to improvise. Sometimes that just happens. It's really annoying, but sometimes the enemies just don't burn. And not only is it a waste of a match, but it's just, you know, it's putting yourself in a dangerous situation. But anyway, this one should work. There you go. He's missing his whole brain, and somehow he still is able to get up and attack me. Like, if you saw right there, the whole top half of his head was gone. And that kind of leads you to question, like, what is controlling the haunted? Because if you knock out their brains, they shouldn't be able to move. That's zombie 101. So clearly we're not dealing with zombies here. Are these just some sort of life form that Ruvik is completely controlling, or you know, what's the story here? I mean, even if Ruvik is controlling them, how can he control something that doesn't have a brain? I guess those are just some stupid questions that I think of as I record these things. I never think of these things while I'm playing, because I'm just so focused on not freaking dying. But then when I go back during this commentary and actually watch the gameplay, that's when I start to notice a lot of things that I'm like, how do they explain this? How do they justify these choices? All right, so all I'm doing here is I'm picking up any supplies left in the room, and so there's another haunted. She scared the shit out of me. She was just she's just laying there, and she did not wake up. It's very nerve-wracking, because you would just assume that from all the noise I've been making that any haunted in the area would wake up, but that's just not the case. So it can get pretty nerve-wracking, and that's part of the reason I'm being so timid as I walk around here. So the main reason is because I'm worried about traps. Traps were probably the #1 killer for me in this game. I got killed by bear traps so many times because I just either didn't know where they were, or I panicked, and as I was running away from enemies, I ran into one. So every time I finish an area for the first time, whenever I look around for resources, I always go very slowly, because I want to make sure there's no traps that I overlooked. And actually, that's at the core of it, one of the worst things that happened to me in my fight against Laura. So against Laura, I spent about an hour trying to kill her. I finally killed her, and then in the room that you kill her in, there's a wall bomb, but it's very well hidden, and I didn't see it, and I ended up getting killed by it. And the problem is the game does not give you a checkpoint after you kill Laura. So because I accidentally got killed by that wall bomb, I had to do the whole Laura boss fight over again, and that was just heartbreaking when it happened. Alright, so this area here, this is the first kind of real trauma encounter. This is kind of tricky, but I'm going to show you how to get through this without killing a single enemy. All you're going to need is a shock bolt. You might want to have some shotgun ammo just in case, but the main thing is a shock bolt. That's all you're going to really need here. So, once you're ready to go, step into God, I can't talk. Step into this side room, and you'll see a tripwire here. Now, this tripwire is not an explosive, so even if you trigger it, you're just going to want to back up immediately, because those spikes will swing at you and kill you if you don't. But here we go. We're going to insert the battery, and that will kind of put things here in motion. And so now here we go. We have to get to that doorway. And to do so, we're going to have to dodge a trauma and a lot of haunted here. So you're going to want to equip your shock bolt, and then you're just going to run past these guys. It's actually very easy to do. So you see I sidestepped all of them. I'm going to run past her. The trauma's going to come through the door. I'm going to wait for him to charge me, and then I'm just going to run around him. I'm going to immediately turn around and shoot a shock bolt, shock everyone, pull the lever, and then as quickly as you can, you're going to want to turn around and run over to this direction. Get under the blades before they lower, and that's it. You're good. You're good. You just dodged all those guys using only one shock bolt. They will not follow you here. If they do, they will run into the saw blade and kill themselves. Now, there's going to be a key in here, so you're going to shoot it, and then you're going to wait for this thing to move once again, and then get inside. And so you see, even though that lady chased me, the saw ended up killing her. So you should be safe. And I thought that, I was pretty proud of that, because this section gave me a lot of trouble, because I was trying to fight everyone, and then I was like, why am I fighting? Like, I could just try to run past these guys, and all it will take me is one bolt. So, one bolt versus a ton of ammo, I'm going to go the method of one bolt. Alright, so once you run into this room here, immediately run back out, because you see those things are going to try to stamp you to death. You don't have to worry about them coming back, though, so you're safe here for now, is the key point. So there's some green gel in that back corner. And then you're just going to make your way towards this ladder. Now, we're not done with the trauma yet. We are going to have to go through a room that has 2 of them. And then there's going to be another trauma encounter later in chapter 14, I believe. But you're going to see, I get through this whole game without ever killing a trauma, because they're ammo sponges, and we are not about that life. Alright, so go ahead and duck through this hatch right here. There's going to be a map fragment in this area, so you might want to pick that up. Keep in mind too, when you get all the map fragments, if you do a New Game Plus, you can unlock 2 new weapons. You can unlock a piercing sniper rifle and then a semi-auto pistol or something like that. Yeah, so that's just for your own benefit. If you know that, if you get all the map fragments, you can unlock some new weapons during your New Game Plus. Alright, so you're going to drop down. You're going to get yourself a checkpoint. And now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to equip your shock bolts. And you can see that there's one haunted over there. When he turns his head to the left, that's when we're going to make our move for it. So you see right there, he just kind of momentarily will turn to the left, and that's when you're going to move. Otherwise, he'll see you, and we're going to take him out with a stealth kill. Now, there is one more haunted in this area, and there's also 2 trauma. One of the trauma you can't see right now because he's kind of hiding near the gate, and then if you try to run to the gate, that's when he'll attack you. So make sure you disarm that bear trap right there. Now I'm going to shoot this trap. That's going to lure everyone over, so that's going to lure the other haunted over. Here he comes. I tried to burn him, but I was premature, so I'm just going to take out the shotgun and drop him like usual. And now all we have to worry about is the 2 trauma. Now at this point, they're both aware of my presence, so I'm going to get that shock bolt ready. I'm going to lure them in here, and then I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to run past them as fast as I can. You got to do that quickly. Then I'm going to run towards the gate, and I'm going to shoot one more shock bolt behind me as an insurance policy. So keep in mind, a pretty important upgrade to have at this point is the duration of your bolts. So like the flash bolt and the shock bolt, you want to make sure those are going to have a higher duration. Otherwise, I wouldn't have enough time to open this gate. But there you go. So I just got past that entire area without killing any of those haunted. Go ahead and pull this lever. Still got to do it quickly because the trauma will follow you in here. But then just duck, and that's it. That's the whole part. So yeah, good news for us, I guess. We are done with the first kind of big area of the game. So now all we have left is the Laura boss fight and then the Amalgam boss fight. So that's him. That's the Amalgam Alpha. But we're not going to fight him yet. So instead, he's going to teleport us to this area, and this is where we're going to get ready to take on my worst nightmare, Laura. Cool, so make your way down the hallway, and you can already, or at least you saw her scaling that window. And we're not going to start the fight just yet. There's going to be a little bit that we have to do beforehand, but we are getting close. So I gotta tell you though, on a side note, I love the magic of video editing. So, as you notice, this is a lot of commentary. This is about 40 straight minutes of commentary. And, or at least that I'm gonna have to do total. And halfway through, I got kind of tired. Like, my throat was hurting, I needed some water. And so what do? I just pause the microphone, get some water, take a break, watch some baseball, and then now I'm back. And it's just amazing to me because, you know, I took like a 10-minute break, but to you guys watching the video, you would never know unless I told you. So I don't know, just really cool. I think it's something that you might not think about if you don't make videos yourself. But yeah, it's really fortunate. I guess usually I prefer to do Let's Plays over walkthroughs only because when you do Let's Plays, your commentary is live. So the kind of how I always explain it to people is, let's say I record an hour's worth of gameplay. If I do a Let's Play, I'm recording my commentary at the same time. So the total amount of work is 1 hour. Whereas, let's say I do a video that's an hour long for a walkthrough. Well, I record the gameplay, so that takes an hour. And then I have to go back and record the commentary, so that takes an hour. So essentially, doing a walkthrough is twice the amount of work as it is doing a Let's Play. In my opinion, too, editing Let's Plays is a lot easier than editing walkthroughs. Unless, of course, you do like a ton of fancy comedic edits, then it's probably harder. But if you're just doing the core gameplay, like, I'll be honest, my Dead Space Let's Plays, I hardly have to edit those because, you know, I can keep the deaths in there. But when I'm doing a walkthrough, I have to edit out all the deaths, and I have to try to trim down the gameplay as best I can. So, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I like to talk about these things because either I'm short of commentary ideas, or I know that for a fact when I was starting my YouTube channel, I always wished that YouTubers talked more about like the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes into their videos. And so that's kind of why I do it, so that if any of you out there are thinking about starting a channel, maybe some of the things I say, you know, kind of give you some ideas or give you some thought onto how it actually works. And also, please keep in mind, if you ever have questions about my setup, you know, what software do I use, what capture card do I use, how do I do what I do, feel free to leave any questions like that in the comments below. In fact, I'm thinking about making a video where I basically do a tour of my setup and show you like all of the stuff I use to produce my videos. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I saw PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye made videos like that a couple months ago, and I really enjoyed them because I like to see that type of stuff. So yeah, if ever you have any questions or want to see that, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to make it happen. But anyway, let's forget about that, because we are now at the Laura fight. This is one of the toughest parts in the game. Whether you're going to kill her or not, it's still tough no matter what. Killing her is obviously going to be harder, but either way, you're going to have a bad time. So, just be prepared. Alright, so you're going to come to this area here. Laura will not start coming at you until you pull this lever, so just be aware of that. And when you pull this lever, it's going to start opening these two gates, but I'll tell you right now, the gates take a long time to open. And so, you're just going to want to stand in the middle of the room for a second, because you're going to want to dodge her a couple times before you actually make a run for it. So you see those gates are just very slow to open. So I'm just going to run around, I'm going to dodge her once, and that's when I'm going to make my run for it. Now the one good thing about Laura is it's hard. It's obviously harder on AKUMU, but for the most part, even on the lower difficulties, if Laura grabs you, it's a one-hit kill. So in that sense, it's still the same. The thing that makes it harder is Laura is a lot faster on AKUMU, and she can take a lot more damage on AKUMU. So it's still harder. It's just, in general, it does kind of play the same. That is just terrifying to me. I hate that visual. Alright, so for the moment we are clear. We don't have to worry about her. So this fight is basically broken down into 3 sections. You will get a checkpoint after each section. But do note that during the first 2 sections you can't kill her. It's going to waste your ammo, so don't even bother. The first 2 sections we're going to focus on just running away from her, and then in the 3rd section, that's when we're going to really get down to work and start doing it. But yeah, so for this part here, we actually have nothing to worry about. So you're going to go ahead and pull the lever, and that'll kind of introduce you to this fire mechanic. So whenever you see a gate of fire like the one in front of me, when you pull the lever, it's going to take some time. Now you see right here, there's a key on the other side of this fence, and this is what I was talking about. The only way you can get that key is if you kill Laura. So that's why I'm going to kill her, only because I'm trying to get all the keys. If I did not care about getting all the keys, I would not kill her because it's way harder. So I'm going to let you make the choice. Do note that there are more keys in the game than you actually need to open all the lockers. So if there was ever a key that you can skip out on picking up, it's that one, for sure. So anyway, just run straight into this room, disarm the bear trap, and then immediately pull the lever. Now Laura's going to enter the room, and all we have to do is stall. We just have to wait for the fire gate to open, and that's it. So again, you're not going to want to waste any ammo on her. You cannot hurt her yet. So you're just going to want to focus on running away. Notice how I'm just going to crouch and kind of play Ring Around the Rosie with her. I only shot that thing to try to cause her some damage. There's also something here. Keep in mind, this damage really doesn't matter. It's more about stalling for time. Because when you burn her, you know, she kind of gets stunned for a good 15 seconds. So that's the only reason I'm doing that. It's not for the damage, it's just for the time. Alright, so similar thing here. You're going to run into this hallway. You're going to turn around and you're going to look up, and there's going to be another flame you can douse her with. If you're having trouble with the timing, one thing you can do is you can shoot a shock bolt under the flames. That way she'll get stunned, and then you can burn her. It's kind of a waste, in my opinion, of a shock bolt. It's just better to kind of get the timing down, but I'm just letting you know so that if you are having troubles, that's how you can fix them. Alright, so now I'm just trying to, once again, douse her in the fire. Now while she's stunned, I'm going to pull this lever. In hindsight, I probably should have pulled the lever while she was stunned from the first flame, but I wasn't fast thinking enough. But yeah, so now that I pulled the lever, it's just a waiting game. I'm just, once again, I'm going to kind of play Ring Around the Rosie with her. I'm going to wait for that fire gate to extinguish itself, and then I'm going to make a run for it, and that will complete the, what is this, the second part of the fight? Or no, this is, I think this is the third part. Yeah, this is the first part, still. I think. I don't know, I always forget. Okay, so anyway, shoot that thing, get out, and then now, okay, so now this is the final part of the fight. This is the final part, and this is where we're actually going to start causing her some damage. So immediately run up and get ready to shoot this bomb, cause her a little bit of damage, then turn to the right and shoot that to, you're going to have to do that to 3 different sources. Now you saw what I did right there. I actually ran around that bear trap, and I let her trigger the bear trap for me. Then I'm going to run over to this body, burn it while she's on top of it. That will stun her for a little bit, and then I'm going to shoot the dial. She's going to spawn on this body here. I'm going to burn her once again, shoot the 3rd dial. Now there's one thing you can do right here just to cause her even more damage. Drop another match, and then make a run for it. Be careful because there is a bear trap on top of that dead body, so just be aware of that. Now once you drop down into this area, we're going to start things off only using our matches. So there's one match, disarm this bear trap, then run over to this body here. Now the way you want to do this is you're going to drop the match as soon as you see her hand pop up. So if you just see blood splurting from the ground, do not drop a match. You have to wait until you see her hand pop up. So right here, there's the hand, drop the match. Otherwise, you will waste your match, and you'll waste the body. So now that I've burned every body, I'm going to freeze her. I'm going to start shooting at her head as much as I can. I wish I would have upgraded the duration of my freeze bolts. And now what we're going to do, there are 2 more flame showers in here, so here's one of them. We're going to try to get this one first, so we got to lure her over here into the corner. And there we go. Now I'm going to prep another bolt. As soon as the fire stops hurting her, I'm going to freeze her and then do a little bit of more damage. Every time you burn her, that's when you want to prep your bolts, because then as soon as the fire stops hurting her, you can shoot her with another bolt and be done with it. Keep in mind now, the only reason I'm doing this is so that I can get the key. So if you don't want to kill Laura, your life is much easier. You just have to pull a couple levers and you can get out of here. But I'm showing you how to kill her, because that's what it's all about. So anyway, here's the second fire shower. I missed, however, so I'm just going to run around the corner. There is a bear trap in this area, but I had her run over it, so that saved me the time. Alright, so here we go. She's attempt number 2. I got her. Prep my bolts. Freeze her, and now just do as much damage as I can. And now we're kind of just going to have to wing it. You're going to want to maybe shoot some shotgun shots in there. Use your shock bolts. Now notice how I'm standing near this pillar. There's a good reason for that. You can shoot her from around the corner, and because of just the layout of a third-person shooter, so I missed right there, that sucks, but I got this one. But if you shoot her from around a corner, if she lunges at you, she might not actually hit you. So there's a very good reason I'm running around the pillar and not just running around the open room. Okay, so just try to put as many shots into her as you can. Bolts are very effective if you need to stun her. So again, I'm just gonna get some bolts ready. You see I have my flash bolts and my shock bolts. Let her lunge at me. And then in the downtime, I'll go ahead and shock her one more time. Boom. And there it is. Laura is now defeated. You will get an achievement if you decide to kill her. And there you go. That's the fight, guys. It's pretty hard, but if you use your matches correctly, you can you can cause her a lot of initial damage. Now notice how I shot that thing. Now right here, you got to be careful. You have to shoot this bomb. And the horror story I was talking about was the first time I killed her, I did not see that bomb there. So when I went to pull the lever, the bomb killed me. And I was heartbroken because I spent so long trying to kill her. And then I had to do the whole thing over again. But it was kind of one of those things where once you do something, it's easier to do a second time. Just kind of, you have that confidence knowing that you can do it. So like, after I killed her once and then died, I killed her again on my second try. So, trust me guys, if I can do it, you can do it. And keep in mind, like I said, the only reason I killed her was because if you don't kill her, you can't get this next key. So anyway, let this firewall go out. And now we're going to run towards the elevator. But before you get inside, now notice the reason I'm crouching here is because I was so worried there was going to be a random bear trap in my way that killed me and then made me fight her for a third time. So I was just being extra cautious. But you can see there's a lot of ammo over here. There's the green gel, and then there's the key. Is it worth it? No. In all honesty, you should probably just not kill her. It's way easier. But if you want that key, you're going to have to kill her. Now anyway, get into the elevator, and you'll be treated to a good 2-minute cutscene.
Who do you think you are? I know who you are. Seb. I know what you crave, what you fear. Will you be able to live with yourself knowing what I'm gonna make you do? Poor little Joseph couldn't. Too bad they dragged you into this. But either way, you're mine. To do with as I please.
Alright, so after the cutscene, we're almost done with Chapter 10, and that's good news because, you know, I said this already earlier. I said if you beat Chapter 6 on AKUMU, you're gonna beat the game on AKUMU. But Chapter 10 is also one that's going to give you a lot of trouble. So just to kind of reaffirm that, if you beat this level, you are going to beat the game on AKUMU. Chapter 11 is tough, but it's doable. Chapter 12 is easy, Chapter 13 is easy, Chapter 14 is easy, and Chapter 15 is easy. So if you've gotten to this point here, if you've gotten past Laura, just give yourself a pat on the back. The next boss is a joke, and
back here again.
You'll be fine. You will be fine, trust me. So, anyway, you're back in the mansion, and this time you'll see a map fragment right here in front of, that used to be a save door back in Chapter 9, so might want to pick that up. And now you can see we can go through this doorway that we couldn't go through at the end of Chapter 9, but now we can. You should recognize this area as the place where Ruvik was, like, dissecting a pig's head. Not really important, though.
Doc, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Trying to save us.
Really? Because it looks like you're making another monster to me.
I don't have time for this, Detective.
Neither do I.
Leslie has been here before, and made it back. He survived being linked to Ruvik. The only patient ever, as far as I know.
Wonderful. What does that have to do with any of this?
He's our way out, Detective. Our only way back.
That sound!
No, it's working.
Leslie, are you all right?
It should have. Why didn't it? That's it. That's why.
Doctor, run!
He wants the same thing as us. He wants out.
Now, when you wake up, first maybe say a few words for Dr. Jimenez. But yeah, so we only have one more thing to do in this level, and that is defeat the boss, which is the Amalgam Alpha. He's a pretty simple boss, to be honest. The best weapons you're going to want to use are... So the weapons you might want to use are the shock bolts, the sniper rifle, and grenades. Grenades are going to be very important. Alright, so you're going to... Before you do that, you're going to find yourself back in the hospital. You might want to collect the collectibles. You've probably picked up a considerable amount of keys. So I'm going to go ahead and, or at least one maybe. I guess that's not a considerable amount. But the real reason I'm running in here is because I'm picking up all of the ammo that I couldn't pick up before. So remember, anytime you unlock ammo in those lockers, even if you can't pick it all up at the moment, it'll stay there forever. So because I used a lot of bolts against Laura, that's why I decided to return here. Last bit of note. So real quick, for some reason the game glitched here and it cut out all audio from this conversation, so I just skipped it. So I apologize for that, but this game has kind of a lot of bugs, and that's one of them. So nothing I can do about it really. But anyway, you'll notice, again, I just want to stress this point, how I have a lot of green gel at the moment. I have 72,000. The reason I'm saving it, again, remember we get the Magnum in the next level, and you're going to want to upgrade the Magnum to full stats as fast as you can. So that is why I'm saving my green gel, because I know that I'm going to get the Magnum, and I know that I'm going to want to do full upgrades on it. So that's very, very important. So guys, one question I'd like to ask you is if you've played AKUMU, or not if you've played AKUMU, if you played the Evil Within, whether it was on AKUMU or easy or normal, it doesn't matter the difficulty. I'm curious to know what you guys thought was the hardest part in the game. So, as I said, I thought Chapter 6 was the hardest part in the game, just kind of the whole chapter in general. But I'm curious to know what other people think. Is there another chapter that gave you an even harder time? And then also, kind of aside to that question, which chapter did you dislike the most? And it's not necessarily because it was a bad chapter, but like, for example, the first time I played this game, I hated Chapter 5, because that was the first time you really had to confront Laura, and I was terrified of Laura. So Chapter 5 is a great level. It's just at the time I really hated it because I hated Laura. But now it's not that big of a deal. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Chapter 12. I don't like the style of it. I think it's a waste of a chapter. And I think the monster in that chapter is a joke, but that is a story for Chapter 12, so I'll save it until then. Alright, so I'm going to get my bolts ready. I'm going to be using a lot of shock bolts and freeze bolts here. But as soon as you get into this parking garage, the Alpha is going to charge you. So you're going to run towards the camera, and then don't worry, this is all scripted. This has to happen. You won't take any damage or anything. But now we're going to fight him. And the way you're going to want to fight him is, every once in a while, he'll whip out this eyeball. And you want to cause as much damage to the eyeball as possible, because after you cause it enough damage, he'll expose his innards, and that's when you can do some damage. So right off the bat, shoot his eye with your shotgun, prep a grenade, throw it under him, and then get ready to run away. Now you got to do this very quickly, because the thing is, if you run away fast enough, he'll lose sight of you, and that will cause him to bring out his eyeball even quicker. So I ran around the corner, and then you'll see right here, boom, he's going to reveal his eyeball again, whip out the shotgun, shoot it, run away, prep a grenade, throw it, and then run away as fast as I can so that he'll lose sight of me. And now I'm going to hide in this corner right here. He's going to come, he's going to stop, and once again for a third time, he's going to whip out that eye. So I'm going to, once again, just shoot it. Run over here. There's a grenade on these boxes in case you don't have another one. I'm going to run behind him, and then while he's still down, Right there, I didn't have time to throw a grenade because I wanted to make sure I got far away from him. But so now, you can see he's going to lose sight of me. He's going to whip out that eye for a 4th time. I'm going to shoot it, throw the grenade, and that should be enough to cause him to expose his innards. So right here, now he's taken a considerable amount of damage. I'm going to prep my freeze bolt. He's going to turn around, and he's going to expose his inner eye. And you'll know that's the case because you'll see this purple hue. So right here, now is where you want to freeze him. I can't believe I missed that shot. But so here we go. Same thing. Shot again, I missed. Wow. Got really lucky there. But as soon as you shock him, just go to town on that inner eyeball. Use your shotgun, use your sniper rifle, use your strongest weapons, and you're just going to shoot it as much as you can. You can see how he's just stunned. And then finally, I'm going to finish the job with my pistol. And that's it. It's actually a really easy fight. Shotgun, grenades, and then a couple bolts to shock him, and you'll be fine. So anyway, guys, that is the end of Chapter 10. As soon as you get in that elevator, the chapter will end. So before you do that, there are a lot of resources in this parking garage. There's matches, there's green gel, there's shotgun ammo, there's pistol ammo. There's a ton of stuff lying around. So that's why I'm speeding up the video here, just because I wanted to make sure I looked around everywhere. But it did take a considerable amount of time, which is why, again, I just wanted to speed it up. But yeah, guys, and then right here, I just wanted to slow it down because there's a funny glitch where my shock bolt just got stuck in midair. I don't know how that happened, but I figured I'd show you so that you can maybe get a good laugh at that. And, yeah, so at this point, I'm not going to resume back to fast forward speed because I don't need to. We're almost done. But anyway, guys, like I said, that's the end of Chapter 10. Just want to thank you for watching, as always. Really glad to see this walkthrough doing well. This is one that I was really excited for, and I'm glad people are really enjoying it. And I think it's a good time because the sequel is going to be coming out pretty soon. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you get the chance, and get in the elevator, and that will bring us directly into Chapter 11, which in my opinion is the last hard chapter of the game.